work.
Okay, so we're back again. So what I was saying was about the blessings and the lessons as teachers. So often we have to self-reflect. Sometimes right in the middle of a lesson, if a kid isn't grabbing or understanding something we're teaching, we have to be able to pivot and move quickly. And so I've learned going through different things in my life that thinking about things and how I dealt with it and how the other person dealt with it and what I could have done differently has helped me to get to where I am today. So the first question, hopefully we can get through, is what would you say is one of the biggest blessings that you've received? Let's go within the past year.
Okay, so we just ended 2021. So that
Mhm.
past year, um honestly, my biggest blessing has been my family. I think during this time, I have, you say a blessing, not lesson, right?
Blessing, yep.
Bless. Okay, just making sure I'm answering my cousin. Um,
Mhm.
but during this time, it has been like, so the pandemic calls for us to be together,
Mhm.
but it also, in that time together, it has allowed me to learn to appreciate my children differently, appreciate my parents, all of them, my dad, my stepmom, my mom, and my husband, just at a whole different level. We have gone through, I have had uh, my dad and my stepmom in the hospital,
Mhm.
um, where my dad was like always seen as like my Superman, and
Mhm.
being in the hospital in another state because he was visiting my sister, but to the point where the nurses were trying to say he had dementia. We're like, whoa, no. And that's how bad it was, like his lack of oxygen, how much it was, his lack of food, how it was messing with his mind. And to have gone through that, and my sisters and I, we just like rallied together, shoot, like the freaking Avengers. We
Mhm.
sent my we sent my older sister out there to help take care of them. My other sister, she created a spreadsheet which was documenting like everything they ate, their input and their output. And then like I'm sending all the scriptures, and we doing scriptures and praise songs every day to keep our spirits and our minds right, and like fighting this on all angles. And to be able to celebrate Christmas all together,
Mhm.
everybody in their right mind, everybody in good health. It was like I am so blessed. And I feel like with and it's my family, and it's being able to have this life to be with them.
Right.
Because recently we just experienced something else. We were at South Lake Mall
Mm.
recently,
Okay.
and I'm in Build-A-Bear with my sisters and my daughters, and my youngest, she's just so excited because she's getting to use her gift card for Christmas. And then we're told to move to the back of the store, and we're locked in because there's a shooting. And this is first time experiencing this, but to be able to go through this experience and knowing that my kids did not experience any heavy trauma from it, to be able to make it through the pandemic, and my kids have not experienced any heavy trauma from it, but they have gotten stronger. Their faith has gotten stronger. Their love for one another has gotten stronger. That is like my biggest blessing, to be able to look and like, we are getting stronger as a unit, and we're not allowing our the trials that we're facing to tear us apart, which I know is a blessing because it's not easy, and there are many it's challenging. I'm not gonna sit and say like it's because we're just awesome. No, no, it's not. It's so God. It's so God working in our life and on our behalf, and us trusting Him through it, because it's been wild. It has been wild, but still,
Yes.
and that's
We saw the pictures on Facebook with you all in your matching roles. Oh my God, it's so cute. Every family had a different type
yep.
of role. So to see, it's amazing how we look at pictures, and even with social media, it makes everybody feel like everything is great. on the
Mm-hmm.
outside from the pictures that we post. But looking at those pictures, we would have never known the things that you and your family had endured.
Yeah.
And so, what would you say to someone who is always so enthralled in social media and believe in everything that they say? What would you say? What would you? What advice would you give them on how to identify the blessings and lessons?
Start off with turn that thing off.
Mhm,
Like, honestly, if you find yourself constantly scrolling social media and comparing
mhm.
yourself to the pictures and what you see, you need to fast from it. You need to take a break. You need to delete the app off of your phone. I'm not saying you got to close your account, but to make the access to it a little bit harder. If you got to go beyond just a click to get to it, you'll think a little bit longer before you actually get on. Also, I've been this is something that I have learned.
Mhm.
And it had nothing to do with social media. I need social media to make me compare. I think sometimes it's a challenge as a woman, because you have these goals and sometimes the vision of what life should be is based off of those around you,
Yeah.
and learning that this is your journey.
Mhm.
This is my story. This is my journey. Great for them. Awesome for them.
Yeah.
But I'm not them.
Mhm.
So, what is my moment? Where am I right now? And how do I live in my moment? Because I know for me, I thank God, and I'm gonna toot the horns at people around me. I have some beast of friends around me. I got my friends around here getting doctorates and
Mhm.
in leadership positions and writing books and
Mhm.
starting organizations for mentoring youth and just traveling and doing all types of things that I'd be like, you know, I'm I'm aging and I want to do that too. But at the same time, I have to
Mhm.
remember, you know what? We got different journeys.
Yeah.
And where am I right now? What's going on? And recognize the things that I am doing
Yeah.
and recognize what is it that I do? What's my what's next?
Mhm.
And be able to have a place of contentment as I continue towards my what's next. Because I think sometimes we continue to think about our what's next
Mhm.
and not be grateful and really live in our current, like, okay, I am in my career. I'm actually in my career that I
Mhm.
graduated from school from 2 times over. You went and got that
Right.
message and you're still in the field. All
Mhm.
right. I'm able to help provide for my family. My children are growing and thriving and very, very happy. And when people interact with them, they're like, I just love your kids.
Mhm.
I have to remember that that's a good thing.
Yeah.
As crazy as they may drive me, when they're out in these streets, they know how to represent. To
Yeah.
have people and recognize when, like, these moments, like even this, you saying that you want to even talk to me, that's a blessing. I
Mhm.
must be doing something to
Yeah.
make you still want to talk
Mhm.
to me. And so, like, that would be my first thing is, one, stop comparing. Also, and then the second part and the last part about it is, because the truth of the matter is, you don't know the labor that went behind it. I
Mhm.
had did a talk about family with my church, and we were talking about how when it comes to that whole comparison, and people always say the grass is always greener. I have learned to love that saying, because the grass may be greener,
Mhm.
but is it astroturf?
Thank you, Melinda.
Do they? So first, you got to know, is it astroturf? Second,
Yes.
did they call True Green because they needed additional assistance? So
Mhm.
maybe they're going to therapy, maybe they're going to counseling, maybe they have to go to the gym extra time. They're doing a lot of work. They had to call in professionals to help them get to that green grass that you're admiring.
Yep.
Or there's another one. They are out there. every weekend, weeding, fertilizing, landscaping. So you might see these pictures, you see the finished product, but you don't know how they got there. So even if you see that the grass is green, be willing at least to ask the next question. How you get your grass to be so green? People drive past our yard sometimes like, oh, like, how you do that? Ask, how did you get there? Because then you can find out, is it fake? Are they getting, do they have access to resources or using resources that you hadn't thought to consider or maybe been too proud to consider? Or are they putting in different types of working strategies that you never thought of? Or, so that's the part that that I think of when it comes to, so I'm like, if I'm going to compare, I'm at least going to ask, so how you do that? How you get there? And then, and if they being real with you, you going to get that, oh, I love that picture of you and your family. Well, let me tell you about that broken home, that divorced family, the fact this is this. Because I tell you what, we are smiling because we got here, because we were able to get to this point. But there are many other things that aren't posted. And I know for me personally, like, I don't post everything. And I'm not actually one person to always, like, I don't post everything, and I don't necessarily post some of the negative things. Now, sometimes I might tell like a story or share something, but I also am working really hard on not living my life through media, because I don't want people to, it's my own personal like feelings. Like I battle with, like, I don't want people to feel like I'm trying to get sympathy, like if I'm always putting out like a woe is me kind of thing. And I feel like I'm a growing brand, as we all are a growing brand. And so it's like, if you want to really, really, really know me, you're going to have to do more than Facebook stalk me.
Yeah.
and it's on purpose. It's on purpose. You should have a conversation. You got to look a little bit more. You're gonna because there's a matrix, and I don't want to be completely plugged in.
I totally understand.
So yes. Oh yes.
So we talked about blessings, and so now let's move on to the lesson. What would you say has been the biggest lesson, either from last year, or it's been 3 days for this year, if you learned the lesson already, or even the biggest lesson in your life that you've learned that has helped you to become the person that you are today?
Okay, so I was going to say the current lesson that I'm living in. The current lesson that I'm living in, meaning it's the lesson that I'm like really, I'm still struggling in this myself, and I have to remind myself this each time. And it kind of goes back to what we was talking about with the comparison, is that I am the author of this story. God provides me the pages and the pen, but I get to write it. And so knowing that each day allows me a chance to write the story that I want people to read, that I want my children to read, that I want to be able to look back and be proud of. And so realizing that, okay, so I just turned, I'm 40 now, I'm 40-licious and all fabulous and whatnot. But just like recognizing that every day that I am blessed to live on this earth, my chapters continue. And so if I decided to, I could literally change my whole career and trajectory and do something completely different. And I can. So like, I've been working on giving myself that permission to, like, you can change the game as you see fit. But just keep writing. Don't be too afraid to write your story. And that's the lesson that I'm learning and I'm working through, is that the personal fears and boundaries and barriers that I can put on myself. But I do know, I'm like, but you got a story. And like, and then the great thing about books is like, there are billions and and trillions of books out there, and it's for somebody. You know, like it might not be for everybody, but there's a particular audience, and recognizing like, I might not, be rich and famous or anything like that, but just through my interactions with people, my children, their friends, their parents, just all of it, the teachers and everyone that I come in, coworkers and things I come in contact with, that I have an opportunity to write this story. So keep writing. And working through that procrastination of keep writing, keep writing. So that's my biggest, my current, I shouldn't say my biggest, my current lesson and struggle right now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mine, mine has definitely, well, last year, people always say my New Year's resolution, and then we end up breaking it by February.
That's why I don't do that, because I don't like lying to myself.
Exactly. So I come up with goals. So what are the goals that I want to focus on and make sure that I accomplish? So last year, my theme was pivot, being open and willing to move whenever necessary, even if they were in areas that I didn't feel comfortable. And I've had to pivot a lot this past year. And so God gave me the theme this year of listen and trust. Because I realized, as I've said before, I had been married twice, divorced twice. And I asked myself a couple months ago, I said, why is it that my friendships have lasted longer than my marriages? And God told me it's because the people that you are friends with have the same mindset as you. So I'm like, well, they got something. So I know moving forward, whomever the Lord has in store has to have the same mindset. So the same things that I would look for in myself, the same traits that I would look for in myself, I need to be looking for in that person. No more potential. I don't want to hear the word potential. I need to see what you have now. And so I love the fact that I have these long-lasting relationships. Like you said earlier, we've been friends since college. And I'm knocking on 40 this year. And exactly. We've been friends 20 plus years.
Yes.
And to have all of these relationships where they're in the double digits and we can talk to each other 1 minute and then not talk for some months and then pick back up like we just talked to each other the day before. Those are the types of relationships that I've been blessed to have. And I've learned so many lessons from you all. You talk about the group of people that you're around, but you bring something to my circle where I get to see a mother who takes care of her children and does right by her daughters and is a great example of what a woman is. So that way they'll have a great role model to look up to, and it won't have to be on the TV or in a magazine because they see it at home every day. So you might not be doing all of the things that the other people in your group are doing, but I can tell you that I love the fact that I have people in my circle, women in my circle who are great moms, who even though I can't be one biologically, I'm able to take some of those same traits from you all and sew them into my girls in my program. So you have helped me to be a better person, a better mentor to these girls because of what I see you doing with your two daughters. So I want to say thank you for being my friend. That's a nice.
Oh yes.
Right. And
singing.
and I want to thank you for coming on and talking to me about your blessings and your lessons. And I just want you to know that you have been a blessing to me. So.
Oh, thanks. You have been a blessing in my life too, Cherie. Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Thank you. All right. So I want to thank my friend Melinda Young for coming and joining me We were able to get past the technical difficulties, but I got a lot to edit. But I want to thank her for coming and joining me and sharing her blessings and lessons. Don't forget, you can check out my books, Underneath the Hat, and It's That Size for a Reason, on Amazon and wherever books are sold. Just type in my name, Cherie Simmons, and they'll pop right up. Also, don't forget to subscribe and like on the YouTube channel, Underneath the Hat Podcast. You can also find this episode and my others on Anchor, Overcast, Spotify, Apple, Google, Breaker, and Pocket Cast. So all podcast platforms. And please share. Share the link to the episode. Share it to your different social media pages so that people can hear other people's perspectives about their life and the blessings and lessons that they've learned. Again, I want to thank my guest, Melinda Young, for sharing her blessings and lessons. And as I always say, remember to take care of yourself underneath the hat. I will see you next week.